Okay, so it's a great pleasure to meet you all here at our online events, which is launched by the Center for Urban History in Lviv. And we are starting the series of online seminars, presentations and workshops this fall in October and November, and the next part will be already the next year. And we launched this series with the support of Center for Governance and Culture in Europe at the University of St.Gallen. And we applied for the grant, and our project has its general title as Urban History, Digital Infrastructures, Sharing Expertise and Networking Cities. And we will try to connect and present different cities, different digital history projects, primarily urban history projects in this series of seminars. We also want to have some workshops on the tools which each of the project actually use for their platforms. So this is the plan, and our first meeting today is about the Lviv Interactive platform at the Center for Urban History. Here will be two of us today who will present. It's me. I'm Roksolyana Holovata. I'm currently a head of the Lviv Interactive platform, and my colleague Taras Nazaruk is the head of digital projects in Center for Urban History, and he also was the head of the Lviv Interactive platform in 2016 till 2024. In our presentation, we will focus on our actually digital and digital history, as because our project has its heritage. It was conducted in 2007. And it was one of the first projects in the Center for Digital Projects in the Center for Urban History. So it has like 18 years of legacy already. And in our institution, in the center, we work at the intersection of academic research, digital history, and public history. And actually, Lviv Interactive is all these approaches are implemented in this digital platform. So what is about our project? It is a digital encyclopedia about Lviv history. We encompass the period of 19th and 20th centuries, and sometimes in specific cases we extend this history till today. And the main idea of the platform is to research and present the Lviv past through space in relations with the different actors, between people, places, events, institutions, and all this visible on our map. Since 2007, we published more than 1,500 entries on primarily it's the descriptions of buildings in the city, but also narratives, bigger narratives, specific themes, event biographies, the biographies of institutions. And it's the collaborative actually work. We worked with the researchers in academic field, with architects, historians, anthropologists, and it's very collective, it's cooperative process. And our materials at the Lviv Interactive platform are, for the most part, academic researchers, but we try to work with our authors on the storytelling line. So this material, the articles which we publish, will be more, I said, readable for general audience, not specifically the academic one. And each of the article which we published for at least 5 years has its peer review process. So we gather our authors in one room, and we work on specific cases. We read them. We had the conversation, discussions over these subjects, and then these materials are published at the web page. One interesting thing that we applied, like, I guess 2 years ago, for our authors. So the bigger articles, which are new researchers, they receive the DOI indexes. So it's quite important for the authors to have this academic index, and not only like the article on the random web page, but very specific an important thing in the academic field. So it is the one of the two research is the one of the two track of our approach in the project. And the second is the digital infrastructure of our project, which will be talk me and us also today more specifically. And on the basis, the web map, which are the basis in our project, is very important. But and it's like was the when you first come to our web page, you saw this web map at the beginning, and through years the materials were like enormous amount already, and we decided that we need help actually, and our audience need help how to reach to those materials. So last few years we were thinking how we can create the landing page that it will be more on the more it will be easier to our audience to read, to find materials. And last year we started this process, and this I guess in August we published already our web page. Here is our developer Lubomir, who is remember from the very beginning our project, like from 18 years ago. He was us all this time, and we created for a year. We tried to find the perfect solution to our readers, to make our web page more comfortable for them. I guess as I do not mistaken, in 2020 or 21, we had this focus group in the center, and we actually speak with our users, and on these results, on these reports, we have them in mind when we created our landing page. So now it looks like that, very yellow and warm, from the very beginning, when you find the Lviv Interactive page, you will find our editorial choice on the top, and we actually put the information which we want to highlight there. What is important, all the structure that you will see, it was for years in our project, but was a little bit invisible because the map was on the big screen. And we just put this all information up and create the landing page. So we have, beyond the map, we have two more, as we say, view modes, how we can reach to our information in the web page. It's the list, it's in alphabetical order, map, and the gallery, which is you can find like buildings by pictures, and it's more like a fun game, I guess, for our reader. And we changed also a little bit the structure of our lists. So on the first you find stories. It's like this title where hidden our specific projects, like Lviv at the Great War, modernism. There are also events in this mode, and and themes, also some specific themes in the project. Also, we this year we decided that our city, because we have the city walks, also digital city walks, we just decided to put them on the separate page, and it's now it's easy to take it and go in situ, yes, and walk with this guide through the city. We have buildings and spaces in alphabetical order, and also people and organizations in this list. This is the type of entries which we have, and we also decided to put it in front page to see the amount, yes, and the type of information which we have in the project. So with stories, as I said, it's like the same categories that you can find in the lists mode. And also, what's quite important, we decided to change, not only to create the landing page, but also to change the designs of our internal pages. And Taras will show later how our designs changed through these years, and where we started and where we ended. And we have a lot of thinking over how to make this more readable, more comfortable for the readers. And we change fonts, they changed their size. We also created this breadcrumbs to navigate through the because it wasn't implemented before, and it's very simple but very useful, I guess, for our audience. And we also can change to the here in the left corner, left side, the view modes. Yes, we can switch through the different modes in the project from this internal articles. We changed also a bit our map designs here, but still we try to be when we were thinking how we create this new design, we wanted to be flexible, and we put more attention to this, not to the, I guess, very fancy designs or something. So we try to stay simple but useful. What's also important, and it's like the thing that Lubomir applied in the center, and we decided it's also to apply it for the Lviv Interactive project, is our Google search. And this the new thing, because in the previous version of Lviv Interactive we had only the keyboard search on our map. We it is still exists, but we added this Google search, and we can navigate through all the projects that we have in the center. Another thing that we are trying to organize and to develop is our digital lab, and these seminars will be published there. It was before, of course, in the previous version of Lviv Interactive, but now we wanted to be more visible, to write the follow-ups of our activities, how our project changed actually through this year, and maybe perhaps for different audience in Ukraine or abroad, we want to have to show this experience. Maybe it will be useful for a new projects, not to make the same mistakes, or to maybe someone wants to have the same solutions. So it will be all there published. And so it's like the space for our experiments, because Lviv Interactive actually is about experiments, yes, in this field in Ukraine right now. And I will switch the mic to Taras, and he will show our history of our projects and design. I will stop my presentation for now, and Taras will share his.
Thank you, Roksolyana. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this presentation. I will share my screen now, and yeah, Roksolyana already showed this main changes in the visual interface in the design of the project. So she basically presents a new page in the history of this project, and a new page, literally a new page of the interactive. So I also encourage you to go directly to the website, and you could see how it looks like, and explore it yourself. And my role in this presentation will be more about the previous interfaces and previous designs of the project, because our idea of this event, and also the longer discussion that we have, is actually to also emphasize this longer trajectory of the interactive as it started years ago. And yes, Roksolyana already mentioned, neither me nor Roksolyana weren't at the beginning of this project. We also took over this project at a certain point, and there are basically I don't know, even generations of colleagues who worked on that from the very beginning. And I mean, probably Lubomir and Sofia are those who remember this project from the beginning, who knows how it developed from the initial idea and through the years. So it is important to actually to emphasize the fact that it is also has a certain continuity in its development, and that there is a particular people responsible. There is always some coordinator of the project from the very beginning, that someone who takes care of all the processes from the content to thinking about design, thinking about cooperation with authors, cooperation with other colleagues, and developing the project, presenting it to the audience. So this is another peculiar or significant aspect of this project. It has its continuity, and it develops. That's why it also has this opportunity to develop for so many years, and we hope it will also develop further in the upcoming years, decades even. But it also means that there is a legacy about this project that it is important to reflect and somehow look back at what was done, how it changed since then, and what does it mean for the project, but also we hope broadly for the field of digital history, urban digital history, and we think that this project, not only in terms of content, not only in terms of texts and publications, research, and the interface, but also in terms of its legacy as a project itself, also is a kind of historical record that worth mentioning and worth reflecting. So I made some screenshots from the previous versions, kind of interfaces of this project back from the years. And the first initial version, as far as I could basically dig and reach out in this web archaeology, I was able to find this version. I know that some time ago we actually kept the previous versions and previous interfaces of the Interactive running on our subdomain, so it was actually possible to access it. It's not accessible in that way anymore because there was actually no need for that. So I also took this screenshots from the web archive. So there is this Wayback Machine Internet Archive that allows to search previous versions of historical versions of websites, and this is actually one of the web archive records of Lviv Interactive. As you can see, the web page looked like this, the start page of the project, and it was actually part of the website of the center in general. It was one of the sub chapters of the website, and one peculiar thing about the project from the time that we used a static map that was georeferenced, and it wasn't the Google map as we use it now. It was actually a map created by one of the cartography state enterprises in Ukraine, and we used this as a main map. But then at some point we switched to Google Map as another opportunity to present material on the map in a more dynamic way. You can see how it looked like also with some pop-ups on the map that you can actually click on it and see some additional materials. Now, I mean, the idea remained more or less the same, but it already changed a bit, and the type of the content also developed through the course of time. Then there is also another version of the interface from back from 2014 until 2018, which was again a new visual language for the website itself. It already is a bit different from the website of the center. It works more autonomously, and it more emphasizes more on the different research projects that were started, because the first version, the initial part of the project was mostly or largely focused on the architectural history, the history of building and architectures, and then it also developed into further research topics that combined histories of different institutions, sociocultural history in combination with the architectural history. So it expanded also its research focuses, and it started looking like this. So this was the main page from where you can go into different parts of the project. You can also see I also added some pages, how it looked like the list of the topics of the research projects that were included into the project, and also some of the people from the team back in the time. Let me see. And this was also the next iteration of the design, as Roksolyana mentioned, in this version that lasted up until last August, actually, or this August, even like months ago. This version was mostly focusing on the map representation of the data that we have published, and we also tried to change the functionality of some of the data, or some of the interface parts that we had, and also some part of the context was a bit restructured and reformulated. Even some parts of the content during the kind of editing process became obsolete, so it became part of actually an archive, then the part of the content that is visible online. And now we switched to the version that is available online, and I really encourage you to have a look at it, as it looks very convenient and much easier to work with than it was before. And I hope it will also be productive for our users to work with the materials that we have. I will also try very quickly to show it not only as a screenshot but also as it looks like on the this Wayback Machine Archive web archive here, so you can actually see the page itself. Back in the time, it looked like this, and also if you go to the map, it's not possible to see the map right now because it was dynamic map, and web archiving function it couldn't capture the dynamic part of the map, so you can actually see some filters, some navigation through the map around it, but not the map itself, unfortunately. So this part is actually well, we can see that it's lost as an archive, so we don't have this dynamic map anymore as an archival let's say part of this project. This is also the other version that I showed on a screenshot. Again, you can see the landing page with different ways to access the project through different types of data about events, topics, more information about the project itself, and so on. And this is the way how the page, if you go to, for instance, research part of the project, you get a list of the research projects that are published on Lviv Interactive, and it looked like this. And then once you click on that, you we're supposed to go to a map, but as I mentioned, the dynamic part of this map is not visible through this web archive anymore. So this is basically a short glimpse into the previous interfaces, and it is really possible only partially, as I mentioned, because like the full archive, the full legacy of what was available like 18 years ago is also a challenge, how to preserve it, store it, and then I don't know, use as a certain historical record, historical source to analyze, for instance. Also try to during this changes in the interface, also trying to reflect on the project itself. At a certain point, we also tried to explore the project not only as a text, but also, let's say, as a hypertext. So basically interconnections, interrelations between different parts of the text. So because if you had the chance to work with Lviv Interactive, you had the chance to read the materials there, you can see that basically most of the content, most of the entries that we have in this encyclopedia, they're somehow interconnected, interrelated to some other topics, some other places, some other, I don't know, institutions, personalities, and so on. So you basically have an opportunity to like go from one story through the relation to another story, and so on and so on. And this is kind of indefinite opportunity to explore this network of interrelations. And we actually try to look at this also as a part of kind of added value of the result of the project itself. So not only the text, but also how those texts are connected and interconnected. And we together with Andriy Linik, our former colleague from the center, and also media artist, we try to also explore these networks of entries and how they are interconnected. And here you can see it was an experiment. I will not go deeper into that. Just an illustration to show you some of the steps that we did while reflecting about our project. Only thing that I can mention that the width of the line here, of each of the line, is the number of the connections between between the entries here on the website in the database. So we tried to play around with this. We also tried to introduce some third-party GIS solutions to work more with geoinformation systems, so that we can experiment more with georeferencing, with visualizing geospatial data. And this was the moment where we actually explored our GIS functionality and services, and tools and services that they have. And a lot of them, or some of them, were introduced into our project further, and we still use them for especially for georeferencing, for mapping, for exploring geospatial aspects of the data of the topics of the projects that we work with. And we also, this was the moment when we also used this tool and this application not only for Lviv Interactive but also in cooperation with colleagues from Kyiv Mohyla Academy to create Kyiv Interactive as a project. So there is another project called Kyiv Interactive on the history of pre-revolution, pre-1917 revolution Kyiv, with the kind of exploring infrastructure, culture infrastructure, everyday life infrastructure of the city. It's also available online. If you're interested, I encourage you to visit. And then we also started working on more on spatial storytelling tools. So basically how to connect better, in a more efficient way, connect the stories that we want to tell, the author's narration to a spatial representation. So how you can actually see certain developments, certain stories, certain projects, how they actually take place, how they develop in the context of the city of Lviv, in a different historical context. And again, this was also quite useful using this tools available by ArcGIS and Esri company in general, and some of the tools are also included into our project, and we've been using them since then. But in general, overall, it all resulted in the fact that Lviv Interactive itself has a kind of digital heritage, not only in the context of entries, not only in context of publications and texts, but as I mentioned, hypertext and the digital part of the heritage itself. And here we can say that Lviv Interactive, through the course of its years of existence, produced a lot of georeferenced historical data that wasn't there before, that didn't exist before we started working on that. So we have a lot of maps, buildings, architectural objects, places, but also biographies of people, histories of institutions, and course of the events, georeferenced, so presented through a specific points on the map. And this is a part of our data set that is available within our project. There is a huge also relational database of those entries about buildings, people, events that are interconnected with each other. There is another big part of the project that while working on those entries, we also digitized quite a lot of different types of archival sources and created a visual documentation of the city, because while working with the space, we also did a lot of we made a lot of photos of those places, and it also became part of the resources interactive. And also I consider it at least part of important digital heritage of interactive is a custom tailored content management system. Basically the system that allows us to manage all the entries, all the publications that we have, that combines it all together and allows us to create those interrelations, to publish materials, to structure them properly, and so on. And this is something that started from the very beginning, as Roksolyana mentioned, and Lyubomir is also head of Sigist company who created this from the very beginning and maintains it up until today, and also is with us with this project all those years. So this is also something that was created specifically for the center in general, but also for this project specifically. And it shows how this type of digital humanities, digital history projects develop their infrastructure, or developed this infrastructure from 2000s up until now, and also what it means for maintaining this kind of projects in the future. And I think that it's also quite important to reflect on this digital aspects of such projects like Lviv Interactive. But it also, for us, it's another moment to think about digital future of this project. And as Roksolyana mentioned, this event specifically, but also the series in general, is a kind of opportunity for a self-reflection of where we are at right now. What happened, what is our legacy, what is our heritage as a project up until today, and how we would envision our next steps and general kind of prospects of development of the project in the future. And this is the conversation that we really would like to have, not only by ourselves internally, but also make it as a part of conversation for let's say, for the community of practice, for the field that is also interested in this kind of topics. That's why we also invited you. That's why we made this presentation, and we invite you to join our next conversations, because for us it is also important to have this conversation collaboratively. And I basically tried to, kind of as a summary, try to outline some of the questions that we are dealing with. We've been dealing with for quite some time, and we will definitely have to deal with them in the future, so that this project could develop further and most importantly could remain basically sustainable in the long run, so that it still develops its infrastructure, presents new, interesting and important research materials, but at the same time remains operational and remains functionable, at the same time preserves its heritage from the past itself. So we've been thinking about metadata standards for our entries, for the material that we have, what kind of control vocabularies we can use for those database entries, so that it's sustainable. This kind of metadata scheme is sustainable in the long run, but also whether we should think about other types of databases to use. Maybe a graph or semantic database could be a solution for us in the long run. Obviously, I mean, it's still open question to me how whether it's possible at all, and how difficult it is to convert certain relational database with this historical georeference data into something based on linked data or open linked data. So it's again quite a question for us. Then what content management system are there available for this kind of project in the field of digital humanities in general? What is the most sustainable solution in the long run? What are the advantages of custom tailored solutions? What are the also opportunities proposed by some solutions from proprietary companies, or for instance academic infrastructures or search infrastructures? So what are the basically we try to understand the opportunities and to map all those solutions that are there and that we can use. Another question, as I mentioned, about the legacy of the data and software, so how we can actually preserve it as a heritage itself, as certain historical records itself. So, for instance, a type of the parts of the software that we don't use, or parts of the data that is not available on the website and remain obsolete. So, how to actually have archive of this project in general. And the broader question for all this conversation is to actually how to also keep our project as Lviv Interactive a part of broader conversation and discussion in the field of urban history and also digital urban history. So how to connect it with other projects of this kind, how to make them project not only kind of having conversations between project leaders, coordinators of those who do digital urban history, but also in terms of data, potentially in terms of software. So how to build those points of connections also digitally in terms of, as I said, software, data, and infrastructure in general. And these are the questions that are rather open, and just our introduction to a longer discussion that we are going to have anyway. And we also invite you to join it and share your reflections or feedbacks on that. And I would probably stop here and stop my sharing my screen. And in the meantime, I would also really encourage you to visit Lviv Interactive as it is now, because it provides an excellent interface to explore all those new materials. And probably if you even visited Lviv Interactive previously, you would have another excellent opportunity to explore it in a new way, because this is what also is important for us in this project, that we create a multiplicity of opportunities to explore this data from different sides, from different aspects. And it's always as you enter it, you see some some new entry points and some new opportunities, new passes how to explore the city through this project. Okay, I would probably stop here, and yeah, maybe this will be the moment for opening up the conversation broader.
Thank you, Taras, for taking us to the history of our project. Yes. Yeah, this year we implemented this. It was also the discussion within the center when we created this new visual language of the web page, but we still have this our backend system the same, and we decided that it's step by step, and yeah, and we like for the short time, actually, for 1 year, we created this new landing page, and not to keep our readers and users how to say out of this project. And yeah, and while we created this and it's working right now, this landing page, we starting this discussion over our backend system, and through next meetings which we will organize, we will talk about different system, and Dr. actually will talk on Monday, October 6th, about OmegaS, which we think about it, but still we are quite afraid of it. Yes, and we're trying to think about the solutions, and but we have time, actually. Yeah, it still works, CMS work, yes. But to think bigger, and yeah. Yes, please, Dr.
So, hi, thank you very much for this very insightful presentation. I just would like to ask that do you have any type of documentation about the backend of your project at the moment? So, to see a little bit about, because you were talking about the semantic database and the different solutions. So, I see that you already have some link between the people, and you can already like link the text and everything, but you have some kind of model behind it. So if you have something like this, maybe it's better to look at it, also to understand in terms of OmegaS. I think there are some opportunities, but I totally agree that like all the questions that you were raising about the metadata, the how to transfer the graphs and the semantic database, is it easy to transfer it to the linked open data, or like use existing database and then transfer it in another content management system, collection management system? These are very interesting topics, so that will be very interesting to also discuss on the OmegaS event. But if you can just like share a little bit, if you have some kind of documentation somewhere, maybe I didn't see it on the website, to look at it on the back end, that will be perfect.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tuğçe, for the question and the comment. When it comes to the general structure of kind of database and entries that we have, it's not published on the website, but in this process of redesigns at several stages, we actually tried to kind of even for ourselves to map to map the structure as it was before, to what extent we want to change it, and how we want to present it on the front end. So we have this kind of mind maps that we try to visualize our structure in the back end. But when it comes to technical documentation of the database and general infrastructure, that is actually a good point. I mean, I'm not sure if we have it as a kind of technical documentation that we can use internally or present it publicly. And maybe, I don't know, some guidelines or some ideas or some examples of how it could be for this kind of projects, how it could be structured, could be also a good hint for us how we can do it. But when it comes to this general structure of the database, I think I can share those notes with you if you would be interested. I have it somewhere, and it just shows the inner structure that we have, like descriptions on buildings, descriptions of personalities, institutions, events, and different types of content that are collected and structured in the backend.
Okay, perfect. That's also was my related question about this metadata standards, because I think that when you are going to, like take a solution on the more or less like the semantic database and try to combine the let's say a little bit more linked open data, then data modeling will be also something quite interesting for you that we can also edit on the next next week's agenda, that like how you really conceptualize is also very important. And it's like, of course, it's flexible and changeable, but that will be also interesting to see, because I see that like it's not a big data, but it's more like a complex data that you would like to present. And hopefully you will have a certain like platform that you will publish with the same data, so that can be maybe like discovered a little bit more with the tools that we have at the
Exactly.
moment. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you
Exactly.
very much.
This is what we are thinking about. So how to
Okay.
structure it because all the kind of metadata that is there right now, and the general data model is something that I would say kind of has its own historical trajectory, how it started from the beginning, and then how it
Exactly.
was kind of expanded and added on top of it, and multiple layers of multiple, as I
Sure.
mentioned, generations of colleagues working
Yeah.
on the project added their own layers of metadata, and it's done rather, I would say, intuitively, not kind of adhering to some specific vocabulary standards or taxonomies available for this kind of project. So it's actually would be another challenge to see how it is compatible with some potential solutions elsewhere.
Sure. Yeah. Like that was my two questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Regarding technical documentation, I don't know, maybe Lubomir has some more knowledge or more insights about the documentation of this project from the technical side.
Hello to everyone. Actually, there is no pure technical documentation on this CMS. This is our own CMS we created a long time ago in the beginning of 20s. And as Taras mentioned, it developed step by step, uh, depending on what ideas come to the project and what special data should be stored and related between each other. So in general, it's a relational the project at whole, and we added step from year to year new features, how to relate different areas and even combine different projects into this CMS, because the Lviv Interactive is the one project you see here, but also on the tabs probably you saw there was video database, a street database, and all of them are also related with Lviv Interactive, and they were working as a separate projects. So this system is unfortunately quite legacy, and we do not build any new sites on it. So any new version probably will require a new platform. Could it be custom or maybe some existing solution? But in the years, most likely Lviv Interactive should migrate to other system. But so this one is using for the current version. It works. It could be enhanced and added any new features if required. And we already added some features especially for this version, but we're not planning to really to extend it. And I think there will be no sense in the pure technical description, but rather in the model, as Taras mentioned, how what data is stored in database, how it's related between different parts. And as of previous versions, okay, they are not available right now because there was 10, they were 10, 15 years ago, and just their coding, programming language like PHP versions are not available right now. And so we just can't run the previous versions online. So that's why they could be stored only on print screens or in web archive, webback machine. And maybe one more note uh, regarding maybe exchanging data with some existing current systems. As we have full code, we can, even in this version, we can add some like bridges or some like exports in different XML formats or whatever, or JSON, for example, to interchange data with other systems. So it's not closed completely. But it could be added.
There are those interfaces created, kind of applications that allows you to run some legacy software, legacy programs, or legacy websites from 90s as a container, basically, because you mentioned that some of the programming languages are outdated and it's not possible to run those versions of the websites because of that. And actually, web archiving doesn't solve this issue neither. So basically, it's a big question for, let's say, history of digital history. Yeah. How to actually work with different kind of digital history projects back from 90s, back from 2000s, and use them as a record, as an archival record that you can refer to, that you can analyze, and then also tell this history of how different kind of digital history projects developed, what they tried to achieve, what they tried to present, and so on. Because the field itself is also has its trajectory already, quite a few decades already. And actually, it would be interesting to reflect upon that, because then it also informs us how this kind of projects can be developed further. And I think that it's not only a kind of pure technical question how to I'm not talking about Lviv Interactive specifically, but general, from any kind of digital history project from 90s or 2000s, how to have a look at this project today in order to use it as a source, use it as a source to analyze how it was created and developed, so that this could inform us on the digital history field in general. And this is the broader problem, and I'm not sure if there's a kind of answers to that directly available. But one of the ideas that is, some of the projects try to do, they create some containers that you can go on the website, launch the container, and then launch some, Flash-based application within that container from, early 2000s, and have a look at this application, at this website, how it worked. Because, otherwise you just only can read about this project, not to click and scroll and explore and something like that.
Yes, so we have these questions that Taras put on his last slide, and I guess it will be with us, these questions, through this year and the next year with our meetings. And perhaps somehow we will at least find one solution for one question or something. But I guess that's why we gathered and why we decided to organize this series. Yes, and to share, to make it public and share with other projects who are starting this way. Yes, we have this long history of ourselves, but maybe for someone it will be also useful and have some answers. So I guess it will be all for today. We will see you on Monday, October 6th at it's time changing 15:30 3:30 p.m. by Kyiv time and 2:30 by Central European time. We will send you all the links and to the Zoom, and also we already published the information and schedule of our series on our website. So next time it will be to Cekaratas on Omeka S, and yeah, I think we will try to gather some hangouts from our sites, also our structure of our data, and think what we can do and share. It will also our events will be recorded, and we will put this publication of Avelia web digital lab soon, so we can return and to these recordings and yeah.
And small comment from my side, if you I don't know, have someone in mind that would make sense to I don't know, share information about the series of events, share information about these conversations, would make sense to invite to this conversation, let us know. Just some hints, some ideas, that would be also really helpful. Or for instance, you have some other projects in mind, other projects that potentially could be a part of this conversation on urban digital history, historical cartography of cities in the region, but also in general, then it would be also very interesting for us to learn. So in case you have any suggestions, comments, ideas later on, just let us know.
Thank you for everyone, and have a nice evening. Yeah, bye.